You are now listening to the Fierce Kingz podcast.
Hey, I'm testing here. I am testing.
I am listening to your test and I am acknowledging your test.
I have failed the test. I repeat, I'm failing the test.
You have failed this test.
Testing again. Here I am testing. I'm testing once more. Ladies and gentlemen, you made it to episode 9. And you already know my name is Paul. You already know that he is Stu. And together we are the Fierce Kingz, which means you are now listening to the Fierce Kingz podcast. Stu, what it do? A baby.
Yo, okay, so not to beat a dead horse, but I wanted to ask you a question. So let me preface it first. Again, not to beat a dead horse on the whole snow situation. We've talked a lot about that.
It's Canada, though. Like, we know about snow.
That's it.
Rhyming accidentally.
You're a poet and you don't even know it, eh?
That's it.
And so I was out there because we've had quite a bit of a dump for the past little while, right? Mm-hmm. So I've been out there and I've been shoveling my stuff like it seems like almost like 4 times a day. It's been insane. But I've also been hooking up my neighbor just to be a nice guy and kind of clean it up from time to time. And I'm noticing that it's just never reciprocated.
Uh-oh.
And so not to dive too deep into the whole snow etiquette, which we can if we want. But my question to you is more like, how do you distinguish or create certain borders or distinct relationships with your neighbors? You know what I mean? Like when are you kind of like, yo, we're buds? Yo, we coexist.
Yeah. And sometimes I think it's okay to also just be not cool. Like if you guys both know, like, listen, we just hate each other.
Yeah.
That's okay. We have to live beside each other, but let's let it be known that we don't like each other. But yeah, that's a good question. Like, I have dope ass neighbors on my left. I've known them my whole life. You know, we help each other out, but it's different on the right side, man. It's like a whole nother world on the other side. Mm-hmm. They like eye contact is a problem. You know what I mean? I've been caught with a wave like, hey, and I know nothing. They've seen me. I know they saw the hand. Yeah. And they're probably just like, I can't be fucking bothered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like that kind of cheeses me because it's like, can we just acknowledge that we live next to each other? I don't like you. I'm not asking any questions about your life.
Yeah,
But you know, a quick wave. Can I get a quick wave back?
Yeah, you're not inviting them to any sort of function or gathering. You're just kind of saying, you're there. Hey, you're there over there. Hey,
there you are.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't take you even to a shoes on party, let alone you coming into my house and jamming out at a shoes off party. I just want to let you know, like, cause any sort of greeting, and well, especially in this day and age that it's not actually physical contact. If you're like a wave is just as good as a prop. And so if someone leaves you hanging, mm-hmm. a wave hang is just as bad as someone not putting out their hand for a handshake. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, man. No one like, I'm just thinking about it now. Being caught hanging is serious beef sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
time.
I've been just chilling sometimes, just waiting and waiting and waiting. And the whole time, like, I can't believe this is I look so ridiculous. And I wonder if he saw me hanging here or not. You know what I mean?
I've actually done it where I've gone up, homies left me hanging, and I just waited all day, and I had to drive home, and my hand's still up, just waiting till I catch him again. Yeah. You know, you're showering with one hand because you're just like, I can't put this hand down. This hand will not go down until it gets some form of attention, because if it doesn't, you're gonna have a big matzo ball on your hand,
dude. I was at Foot Locker once, you know, getting kicks or something.
Yeah.
And, and you know, those guys work on commissions. They work pretty hard. I got to say, they hustle out there. You know what I mean?
Big time.
And there was some dude in front of me in line checking out, and I guess the guy was helping him, and he went in. He's like, well, listen, enjoy the shoes, right? And like his hands up, and he's just looking for something. And the guy, he didn't see it, but he was waiting there, and me and my wife were watching the whole thing. And then he just
this was the Foot Locker clerk.
Yeah, the employee that helped him buy shoes.
Right.
And then eventually he just gave props to himself. Like he shook his own hand.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't leave myself hanging. So
where were you? Why didn't you go up and give him a quick run and dap?
I know. You know what? I might be guilty here too.
Yeah.
Because
that's where you saw him from across the room, and like, oh damn, this guy is hanging.
He's hanging
hard.
Yeah, like he would come. That's something that you come home to your wife to. Hey, honey, how was your day? It's like, you really want to know?
Not good.
Not good.
Really not good.
Still hanging.
Still hanging and still thinking about it, because it truly like lingers for a long time.
You're let down. That's what it is.
Yeah. And it's just, I think, a sort of, it's symbolism to the person who left you hanging. Let me down in the future. If he can't even give me the simplest, most basic form of courtesy, i.e. shaking my hand or giving me props, how do I think I can go to war with you? Like, this guy's going to leave me in the trenches alone and take off because he's going to be like, sorry, that wasn't for me, pal. I gotta scoot. But, good luck with everything.
You can't trust anybody who leaves you hanging. There's no two ways about it.
You are now listening to the Fierce Kingz podcast.
All right, check it out. So I went on a walk this weekend, right? Mm-hmm. And we talked about this briefly, but I'm seeing it more and more and more and more. Everybody has a dog now, to the point where it's borderline shocking. Like, it's very rare, at least in my neighborhood, but I'm sure this is taking place all over the city, to see someone walk down the street, just going for a walk or running an errand, alone, right? Like, they have a companion. Right? Yeah. It's always a person, but if it's not a person, like, they have a dog.
Right.
And obviously COVID has something to do with that, but have we just gone crazy for dogs? Like everyone loved dogs in the past, but like, do you think people are legit substituting dogs for humans?
Well, I think to your earlier point, like, I'd like to check out the data on just dog ownership over this pandemic.
Dog sales?
Skyrocketing? Dog sales business is booming right now.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, once people realize that this was like a little bit more of a long-term thing, it's kind of like, okay, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. All right. And then it started to kind of devolve into this pretty, uncertain time. Mm-hmm. And then when everybody was like, oh shit, like, I'm sitting around doing nothing all the fucking time, I might as well get a companion. And especially if you're like alone, right? If you have a wife or a partner or whatever, a husband or this and that, it's like you're kind of okay, you've got that. And I'm sure a lot of those people did as well. But definitely if you're solo, you're just like, all right, I'll go to the pound, I'll pick up a mutt, and then I'll have guaranteed loyalty for as long as this fucking thing lives.
100%, man. But people are like, they're choosing the small dog. You know what I mean? I call them rat dogs, and that might offend some people, but the only reason I say that is because when you see something that's like 6 inches, 8 inches, like in size on a leash down the street, dude, that's an accessory, man. Like,
is that even a dog? Like, that's just a rodent at that point. Yeah,
a dog. What happened to the good boy? You know what I mean? The good old good boy was just a medium-sized friggin' dog that just loved you to shit. You know what I mean? It wasn't these accessory dogs that are fitting in purses and fucking, taking selfies.
Well, you'd like to know, you'd want to, like, this is where you'd have to kind of really dive into sort of like the evolution of dog and like the breeding element of it and all that sort of stuff, because you're kind of like, where the fuck did a Chihuahua come from?
Word.
You know what I mean?
It didn't come from a wolf.
No, exactly. Because isn't that the thing? Aren't all dogs? They have some form of lineage to wolves.
I think so. That's the deal.
So then, some fucking dude was letting this wolf fuck a possum or a rat or something for like millennia until it turned into some sort of rodent. You know, like
some hybrid.
Because
they're like, you're too cute to be a rat and spread the plague, so we'll keep you.
Yeah, exactly. Like you'd want to check the genealogy on Chihuahuas and other small dogs and see what else they have in there. I guarantee you it's not all dog. Because it's got like, or they were living in a fucking dungeon or something where they haven't had any chance to like grow and get nutrients or something. Because it's like there's no way that thing, like you put up one of those rat dogs against like a serious, show fucking pony here. You're like, what is that thing? That thing that looks like it should be in a cage, not in on the street.
Actually, you bring something up because you never fuck. I don't watch these shows, but from the limited education I have on like Best in Show and all that stuff, you don't see a small dog usually. You don't see a fucking Chihuahua up there, going through a flaming hoop and fucking doing the splits or whatever they do out there. You know what I mean? You always see like a pretty like athletic medium dog. And to me, those are the dogs, man. Those are the good boys.
If you're good, you mean like because you want someone to play with.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Like if you're like sometimes, those big dogs. And I remember we had a buddy who had that husky thing or whatever. And he had to walk that fucking thing like 20 times a day because they just need so much activity. Especially like in the city, it's just way too.
Well, it was a Malamute.
Was that what it was?
I think so.
What the fuck is a Malamute?
Just think about like a husky on steroids and a fro.
So it's because I guess that's basically just a wolf then. Right?
Yeah, it's like a wolf monster.
It's like a domesticated wolf.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But then it still just needs to go ape shit 20 times a day, right?
Oh, yeah. Literally needs to shit 20 times a day, too.
Yeah. Think about the money that you just drop into that, just feeding that fucking thing. It eats more than you do.
100%.
Like
pounds of kibble all day day.
You're trying to set up a date and they're like, so it's 7:00. We'll go get dinner? Sorry. Don't have any money. I have to feed my dog.
Yeah. Dude, man, you're probably going over to No Frills, picking up doing your weekly shop, getting your soda waters, and then you just got to stack bags and bags of kibble, basically. And that lasts, 3 to 4 days?
Yeah, you have the basket for your own food and then the cart for the dog.
Yeah. You got both on deck when you
kind of got the basket up like a purse kind of hanging off your shoulder and you're like, okay, I'll get a head of lettuce and a couple tomatoes and a red onion. And then you're like, oh, can I get the Costco size jumbo massive kibbles and bits, please? Because my dog is waiting at home. And he's starving.
Yeah, he's going to kill me if I don't get home real soon.
I'm in big trouble if I get home and there is nothing for this thing to eat.
What's crazy, too, is people love their dogs so much that they give them, like, a nice fucking T-bone steak. You know what I mean? Sometimes, I've been at a barbecue, I guess, and, like, everyone's having their steak, and, I could have sworn the dog got a way doper cut of steak than me.
Easily.
I swear to God, they're like, no. This is for Rexy. And Rexy's been doing shit all day. He's been on the porch, lamping.
I guarantee you, if you did a poll of people, and obviously especially dog people or even animal people in general, but I would say if you did a poll of just sort of the general population, I would say you would have an overwhelming response of them being like, fuck humans, I'd rather hang out with my dog.
Do you think there's a population of people that have seriously considered marrying their dog? Like they're like, I don't have lots of family, right? I don't have lots of friends. What if you and I just fucking went to Vegas and got hitched?
I mean, that's not even the craziest shit that goes on these days. So.
Yeah, if someone's just like, oh yeah,
like nowadays,
me and Fluffy are married, I'd be like, you know what, good for you, man.
Well, yeah, like, you know what's going on in the world these days? If someone was like, yo, you know, did you hear that guy married his dog? You'd be like, so what?
Yeah.
We got other people doing body mods to look like aliens and having sex with alligators or something. You think we give it a shit or not if this guy wants to adopt a dog? And I mean, as long as he's not doing anything, you know, perverted with it, I guess it's all right. But
the wedding photos would be fucking hilarious. Imagine, like,
I guarantee if you Googled dog wedding, dog human wedding, you'll find some gold right there.
The best dog.
And it's plentiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, that would be. Oh, I bet that happens like crazy. Like especially like on farms and shit. The ring bearer and the best man are dogs.
Just a straight up dog wedding where everyone's a dog and you're just watching from afar.
It's a nice day for a dog wedding.
All right, man. So check this out. I don't know if you knew, but when I was like 16 or 17, it was one of my first jobs. It was seasonal, right? Like it was like the Christmas time. I worked at the Old Mill restaurant in the west side, west end of Toronto there. For the folks who are listening that don't know, it's basically like an old hotel, like kind of in the style of like The Shining, if you've ever seen that movie. And they have a famous buffet inside. There's like hundreds of people working. You know what I mean? I guess it's kind of upscale. Anyways, I was a prep cook, peeling carrots, making salads, bullshit like that. Paid a lot of money. It was awesome. This one time, one of the cooks is like, yo, Paul, get over here. Come over here. I need your help, man. And he has this big canister of horseradish, like this massive, like industrial, you know, he's like, I think this went bad. Yo, do you mind smelling this? So I put my head into the thing. He's like, no, you really got to get in. And like my whole fucking face is in this thing, and he just squeezes it as hard as he can, and basically all the air from the horseradish went up my nose and into my eyes, and I was fucked up. Like I was really fucked up, like crying, like flustered. It burned. And he was fucking dying. He's like, we got him. Haha, rookie blood. It was like a prank.
Yeah.
I was pissed. It was not funny. I was like fucked up.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, like, do you even fuck with pranks?
No, I'm not down with pranks, man. Like, I never really was. Cause I don't know. It was just one of those things that never really flicked my switch in regards to humor. Cause more often than not, it comes at a point where like someone's vulnerable. And not to say, I mean, you know, especially when you're razzing on somebody, making fun of someone's, you know, sort of quirks or flaws or whatever, and you're having a laugh. But there's something about with all that shit, like, I mean, you know, when you would go to a party or a cottage or on a trip or whatever, and they're doing all sorts of wild stuff, you know, while people are sleeping or this and that. And it was kind of, you know, it was always one of those things where I was kind of like, just let the guy chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I wouldn't necessarily want it to happen to me. And I mean, I know, especially with boys and shit, sometimes shit pops off. But I mean, I think especially once you get to a certain age, you're just kind of like, no.
Also,
you know what I mean? When you're a teenager or something, like, I fucking get it. You're figuring things out and being a dick. You know, we all were. But it's like when you still see people doing it now, you're just like,
we still pranking?
Man, you're sad, dude.
Yeah, and like, I don't know if you noticed, but if you go on YouTube, like, there's a huge prank culture, and there's like massive amounts of YouTube videos that are like epic prank. And there's like a prank crew that every video is like in the millions. And like, I'll be honest, man, when I see those videos, they're not really funny at all. Like,
cringe,
they
man.
really fucking fucked with someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, they didn't laugh after. They're like, we got you got punked, blah. It's just like, no, man, you ruined my fucking day and more.
Well, you have to kind of talk about it in the context of sort of contemporary culture as well, right? Like back in the day, you know, you'd have the odd what is it, Jerky Boys and CKY and Jackass.
Crank calls and shit.
Little things like that were kind of funny and a little bit juvenile or whatever. And if anything were to happen, as I said, if you were a teenager and things were kind of going on, you'd be kind of fucking around. And that was kind of that. But like now, like everything is filmed and documented. Yeah. So it's not like, this guy, as you said, like this guy, I've seen ones where they like go around and they're like famous people now. Yeah. Too. They're like famous prankers and they get flown over to different places in the world and the States and stuff like that to be like, go to this like country club or whatever and like fuck with these people. And then they're
tell them they're all bankrupt or like fuck with the president
or take a dump in this guy's golf shoes or something. And you're like, what did you achieve there? Because like to me, that's like the lowest form of humor too. You know what I mean? Like anybody can say pee pee and poo poo and get a quick laugh. You know what I mean?
Pee pee and poo poo is much funnier than any prank.
Yeah, I'd rather hear that than seeing what some of these people do. And some of the shit that they do now is so fucking disgusting that you're just like think about if that happened to you, man, you'd spaz out.
Have you noticed too that people use prank as an excuse? Or like so they'll be like, what the fuck, man? Like, hey, relax. It was just a prank. Oh, it's just like, I don't know. Was it?
Well, that's always a situation with even like, and I think we're all guilty of it too, but like offensive jokes or offensive comments, you sort of kind of go as far as you can go until someone says, yo, man, that really offended me. Then you're like, dude, it's just a joke, right? Yeah, even though you're saying the most fucking gruesome shit or something, heinous shit. And they're like, man, that's super offensive. And you're like, dude, I was just joking. Even though when you get into your subreddit, you and your other like, dark hole cronies are like talking about some crazy ass shit. You know what I mean? So it's like that it mutates or something.
I don't fuck with pranks, man. I don't want to get pranked, and I don't have the energy to go and put a plan together to prank somebody. Remember Ashton Kutcher punked? Yeah. Like that legit took a fucking MTV crew to pull off. That's the effort you have to do to put on these elaborate pranks, which at the end of the day are kind of shit anyways. You know what I mean? That's why, hold on. That's why, sorry, I was just going to say, that's why I like the pee pee poo poo pranks. You know what I mean? Like the shitting in the golf shoes that's actually really funny to me. Yeah. Because they're because then he's just like, you shit in my shoes? He's like, I shit in your golf shoes so that you step in it. And like, it's so fucking outrageous.
Well, I get why people think it's funny. But I'll tell you what, you stick your dogs into that fucking boot and there's a fucking turd in there, you're going to find that son of a bitch and wipe it in his face. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where you're like, we're not talking about fucking putting shaving cream on the guy's like towel when he's in the shower. So when he gets up, he's like, oh my God, it's so wet or whatever. Yeah. You're like, oh, no, I have to put a bunch of human shit in my fucking shoe. I'm going to fucking kill you. And then it's also, the thing is that back in the day, like think about like the way that the kids can do it now, the way that the kids can prank now with what's in their fucking pocket makes Ashton Kutcher's production look like a fucking
Oscar
Mickey Mouse.
Oh, right.
Because it was like he needed a whole fucking crew and 10 million people to just facilitate this like plan. Yeah. So it was like, so we don't see the cameras in the bushes. You're like, yeah, because you have this gigantic fucking whatever 35 millimeter camera or something that you're trying to film, I don't know, Cisco, sitting on a whoopee cushion or whatever it was, where you're like, now you just have a fucking iPhone and then you're like, all right, I'm going to fucking jizz in this guy's hat and he's going to put it on and go into class with it. And then you're going to film it. And next thing you know, the kid fucking wants to kill himself and leaves the school or whatever.
Yeah. Imagine. Yeah, you're right. Eh? Imagine you went to, it was high school. Someone jizzed in your hat. You wear the hat. You take it off. The teacher comes to you, sir, is that cum in your hat in front of the whole class?
Yeah, exactly.
It's over for you, buddy. It
smells like wet cat piss in here. Did someone get a cum in their hat? It was just like,
smells like
and then everybody's going to be going to the shit house, right? Like everybody's going to go, oh, that's fucking cumhead or whatever. And you're just like, fuck you, man.
This
like,
prank ruined my life. Yeah.
Straight up, it does. That shit does that shit to people, man. People like, I mean, in this day and age, it's more severe. Right? Like, as I said, like back in the day, you may have done something that you regret or whatever, and you're kind of like, that's the end of it. Maybe a couple whispers here and there. But then when you're doing with the way that it is now, like social media, and this gets into maybe a whole conversation about bullying, which can be left for another time. But it's like, it's not like back in the day where, there might have been an instance where, a couple crank calls or Nicky 9-door or something. It's like these people are tormenting these kids online until 5 a.m, being like, hey, cumhead, I can't wait till you fucking, step on an HIV needle or something. I don't know. Yeah. You never know what's going on with these guys. So not to get too kind of involved in that sort of nefarious element of it. It's just like, it's a slippery slope with how far it goes. You know what I mean? Like, as I said before, I'm like, a good old fucking whoopee cushion. Okay. I get it. You farted. You farted.
It's funny.
Yay. Pass me that back because I got to fill it back up.
Yeah.
But it's like, and get the next guy. But it's like when you're doing the shit that these guys are doing now, you're like, man, that's just super, just grim.
Yeah. And just to finish on this, that guy who had shitting issues.
Yeah.
How did he not see that there was dumping issues before he put on his shoes?
Yeah, you'd have to be like the MacGyver of shoe dumping to like kind of get your poop to kind of go down the foot of it so he doesn't notice
deep.
it. So that when he gets the foot in, it hits the toes first and squishes back out and shoots up his ankle. And then, my God, that's going to be one angry guy.
he's the prank game MacGyver. All right, buddy, let's get into that Would You Rather.
Would you rather? Would you rather?
All right, it's Would You Rather, and when we do Would You Rather, there's only one rule. It's going to be stupid as fuck. And very happy to say we're back. Okay? So check the science. Would you rather send nudes to your mom or to your boss at work? And when I say nudes, you're naked, full boner.
So it's not just a DP; it's a full on, like you're caught red-handed. Like you see your
you're
face,
up to something.
You see your face and everything, or
face, body. You're completely buck, and you're ready.
Ah, fuck, man. Hear me out. And this could raise a few eyebrows.
Yeah.
But I'm almost thinking like it would be best to do it to your boss. And I'll tell you why. Because, and depending, and maybe we're fortunate enough in this sort of progressive society that we're in, that like, depending on their age, they like might understand.
Right.
They might be like, hey, bud, I think that was meant for someone else. But, nice pick. And then kind of like, maybe shrug it off or, and this is super, obviously super, hypothetical. But if you do it to your mom, I think there's going to be a whole shitstorm. And then moms never forget. Like you're going to hear, it's going to be down the line 7 years later at some fucking Thanksgiving dinner. And they're going to be like, I am still horrified from that time I saw your wiener when you sent that picture thinking it was whoever. Yeah. Like, I can't believe this is what you do on the internet or whatever. Right. So I think that you might be better off going with your boss and taking your chances, and if you're both available, it might turn into something in a positive manner.
You might get that promotion you always wanted.
Or you might get fired depending on the size of your staff. Like they might be like, so this is you in all its glory? Hit the bricks, pal.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
So the thing about my mom, so I'm with you. Moms don't forget. So every time she'd see you, she'd be like, every time I see you, all I can think about is you know, holding your pole in the middle of the hallway, posing for God knows who, you know? But also, like, my mom, God bless her soul, she's obviously not the best with technology. So I wouldn't be surprised if she accidentally would save that pic and set it as her like iPhone fucking background by accident.
Right.
And she's sending, you know, she's sharing it with fucking the family overseas or something. And they're like, who's that? Is that your son? And then you're fucked. You're the family joke. Or unless you could pull off some epic story, I must say.
Yeah, or what if you had like a truly, truly supportive mother, and she was like, "Oh my God, look at my boy, he's so big," and sends it off to all of her friends, and is like, "Look,
he's so confident."
Yeah, look at that, and then they're like, "What, is he getting paid for this? Does he do Playgirl or something? What the fuck is going on with you?" You know what I mean? Because it's just like.
She's super proud and supportive. She's like, he lost weight for this picture. Look at, you know, he's never been happier in his entire life. And look at him. He's just beaming with confidence. That's my boy. Yeah.
Did you do P90X before you sent this picture out? Because you're shredded.
2 cycles. That's 180X.
Because I do think like the mom is going to get into a very like dangerous game because they're going to be so confused, especially. So this kind of reverts back to the earlier point of being like, odds are your boss at this time, and now obviously like a lot of boomers are still kind of like in the workforce, of course, but it's like a lot of bosses now are going to be like almost contemporaries. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be that level of like, you know, obviously it's no fucking good. But they're going to kind of maybe be like, oh, shit, you know, but I get it. Whereas like our parents, especially if you're in our sort of age group, we're at the sort of like front end of the millennials in our mid 30s and getting to 40 or whatever. Our parents are in their 70s. Yeah. So they're just like, They see that. They see a big wiener come in on their smartphone and they're like, have I been hacked?
Yeah, this is 100% of Trojan horse virus. I need to call Norton Antivirus right now.
I need to call Edward Norton to see if he can figure out how to get this penis off my screen.
Oh, fuck. I had a really good idea too, but to share with you, but I forgot it in that moment. So we have to continue. I think... Oh man. Yeah, man. Like honestly, like even talking about the podcast to my father, you know, he looks at me, he's like, okay. Is there a risk that they can get your social insurance number?
Oh yeah.
You know, or just like, do they have your full name, face, or do you have any risk? Is it tied to your bank account? Is this secure? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fuck, man, you kind of want to hit your head against the wall. And it's just, because that's the generation, man. You got to be super careful. Everything's backed up. There's a fucking... Dude, man, my dad probably has, like, fucking... You should see under his desk, there's, like, a hard drive. It's not a hard drive, man. It's like... It looks like a fucking bank safe. You know what I mean? And, like, it's just pictures, I guess, from memories of the past or, like, you know, a bank statement from 1998. But he feels... He's like, we're good. It's the vault. We're secure. You know what I mean? Right. So I think if 100%, you know, you're out there with your Johnson naked, you know, first thing is just like, I've been hacked. 2, has my son been kidnapped and they're trying to get money or something like that. It's a ransom. And 3, just like, I didn't raise this.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, you're probably lucky or unlucky, depending on how you're looking at it from the point of, it sounds like your dad is really involved with that aspect of stuff. Like my dad, he doesn't even like have a cell phone, wouldn't know how that shit works. You could send him 1,000 dick pics and he wouldn't even know what the hell was going on, right?
Yeah, what's that?
Because and I've gained a lot of that sort of attitude from the way that you operate, where it's like, like he's the type of cat like won't check his mail. You know what I mean? He'll be, it'll be on his email or whatever because, he's still working. But it's like just that stuff where it's just kind of like, oh, I didn't realize I had to update my insurance because they sent me a letter and I hadn't opened it for a month. He's just so not in tune with that. So it was like my mom is the lifeblood of that. And I'm absolutely the same fucking way. Like I just, I've been at home working from home for obviously this past year or whatever. And with my wife being away doing a contract somewhere else, like I'll just go for like weeks and be like, and just the other day, like I was like, oh man, maybe I should check the mail and like pull out the mail and there's like checks and like T4s and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, that's probably pretty important. You know what I mean? And it was just like, I'm just so like in my own world when it comes down to most of that stuff. So I just have no fucking idea of how to operate when it comes down to it. So it's like these women just fucking basically make us live.
Oh yeah, 100%. Just to touch on taxes, because have you noticed that insurance through your work and taxes are somewhat complicated? Like everything that's been like automated now through softwares and all this shit. Like, just figure out my taxes. Someone, just like sign up and like here is what you owe or you get. But like, man, 5 different sites, printing out receipts, fucking all this shit, driving me insane. It's the same with insurance. You want to get some eyeglasses? Oh, you got to claim this and you got to put out this thing. Oh, and you're at 30%. It's just like, yo, man, just.
And you know why? Because they're banking on me. They're banking on the fact that guys like me won't do it because they don't care. Mm-hmm. So then they're like, if these fucking idiots, they're paying all this sort of stuff. So if these fucking idiots don't claim it or don't send it up, like the government's not going to come for you if they owe you money. But if you fucking owe them money, believe you me, there's going to be a guy at the front door the next day knocking on it, right? So it's like one of those things where if you're a fucking just like an airhead like I am and just totally just in the clouds and not going to do it, they're like, fuck, all right, that's a little bit extra for us because this guy's a total fucking idiot. But so they make you jump all these hoops in order to do all that sort of stuff so that you eventually go, you know what?
Fuck it. I'll just pay full price.
Pay full price and
pay for insurance I don't use.
Exactly.
All right, mate. It's time to get into the You Raw Air, mate. All right, folks, welcome to You Rotted. This is an opportunity for you, the listener, to tell us stories of times where you rotted. To do so, you can submit your story through fiercekingz@gmail.com. You can always hit us up on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram as well. Now, it sounds like we got a good one. So, Stu, I'm going to let you take it away and let's hear that rot.
Okay, so I was talking to our buddy Paul. Obviously not you, another Paul. And he was going through this. So and I was fucking in stitches, actually. So I'm not as good as you with the kind of, revision stuff of it. But so I'm going to kind of freestyle it a little bit here and kind of give a Cole's Notes version. And there's definitely a lot to unpack. So right. I think we'll get a kick out of this. So this dude, Paul, goes on a trip to Turks and Caicos with his high school. And so they were going, it was like, it had to do with like marine biology. I guess it was like for kids who had an interest in marine biology or some shit. Okay. So then they did this like training in Mississauga to like get them prepared. Cause basically because for marine biology, obviously you're going to have to be in the water. So it revolved a lot around like scuba diving. Right. Mm-hmm. So he said like once they got to the like, I don't know, resort or whatever in Turks and Caicos, it was set up kind of like a camp. And so all of those people had like their own bunk beds and they're all chilling out. And so I guess there's like 20 or 30 people from high school. I think both boys and girls and one or two teachers or something like that. And so it was all super, super chill. Like they were just like, eating and I don't know if they were drinking necessarily, but probably having a good time during the day and doing some scuba and this and that. And so one of the days he goes out with a group and they're scubaing around and the guy checks, I guess the scuba commander or whatever checks his tank and notices that it's got a little bit more CO2. So he had to chill for it because I guess they're really concerned about people's like levels, right? Sure. So he had to chill solo for a little bit to kind of, I guess, unload some of that CO2. And so when he came up to like see the rest of the group, I guess apparently you have to like go up at like 1.5 feet per second.
Got it.
Until you get to about 3.5.
Can't go too fast.
Yes, exactly. So because you're sort of, I guess it's sort of allowing like not to have too much nitrogen or something in your bloodstream. Mm-hmm. And so you're supposed to go up at 1.5 up until 1.5 feet per second up until 3.5 meters. And so he said, and I quote, "I did not do this." So when he gets he booked it. I guess he was like, you know what? I'm down here with the fishies and the sharks or whatever. I'm getting the fuck out. So he gets up to the top of the boat and they pull him in and he says he starts getting all tingly. And he's kind of like, okay, so then I guess he said he takes a nap. I'm assuming he passed out and he woke up and he's like got the bends. And then so the scuba instructor, whose name is Rusty, by the way.
Oh, Susty.
Classic. Takes him to the scuba hospital. So there's a scuba hospital. And where he found out he had all the nitrogen in his bloodstream, and that can cause like a pulmonary embolism, and like you can die from that shit, right? So they put him in a decompression chamber in order to reacclimatize him, I guess. And in the decompression chamber, it's much like an MRI, right? So you're basically like half naked. Mm-hmm. So in the chamber as well is like a granny for some reason. I guess maybe they were, because she did the same fucking thing. She's also decompressing there as well, fucking basically naked with this like 17-year-old Canadian guy. And then in that time, because he was there for so long, I think he said he was there for like 3 or 4 hours, they give you a pot to piss in, but he took a dump.
What the fuck?
So when he hands it back to the attendee, she's like, what the fuck is this, right? A big turd is in this fucking metal pan when you're just supposed to take a leak here, pal. Yeah. And so the kicker is, so then when he, after all of this stuff was done, I think he spent like over 2 days in there. I mean, that was kind of on and off, I guess, throughout the like resort, that I guess because of some sort of partnership or association with Turks and Caicos and the States, there, or even just bribery, I guess. He had to pay American money to pay for this bill, which was like $6,000
at 17.
Well, this old man paid for it. So, and he was probably just fuming because he's probably like, hey, listen, whatever you do, don't
scuba diving.
Don't do something fucking stupid. And so then the kicker of all of it is, after, I guess, especially this might have elongated his trip or whatever, Turks and Caicos is obviously super fucking hot. So the suntan lotion that he was using, he didn't realize it was bronzer. Oh, so when he came back, he came back looking like fucking Donald Trump. Like he was all fucking orange. So people were like, hey, Paul, how's your trip? You really got some sun there. And he's like, well, I almost died, shat in a fucking metal pot with a fucking granny next to me staring at my genitalia. And then my old man had to fork out 6 large. and I hear I look like the fucking former president of the United States. But other than that, the trip was pretty good.
It was lit. Yeah. Fuck, man. There's a lot of things that went
there's
really
a lot
wrong.
There's a lot to unpack there.
The whole thing is one big rot, man. And I guess it all started with scuba diving, man. Scuba diving is just a hard pass for me. It looks cool. Like, I like watching other people scuba dive on TV, maybe, right?
Yeah.
They're around the coral reef. They're, they're exploring. And I commend them to go and do that. Explore on my behalf.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that. And like, I've seen those videos of scuba divers just straight up rotting because of similar situations, man. Going up too fast, getting pulled down. That's where it started to go all wrong.
Well, I think it started really from the inception of the trip, because I'm sure what he was probably thinking, right, was, I'm gonna pretend like I'm into marine biology to go and see a bunch of my fellow students, Chiquita Bonitas, in bikinis, right? Uh-huh. So he was thinking with a small brain, assuming he's going to go get some and, talk about, the Galapagos, right?
Sure.
And then he goes out there trying to be a fucking hot shot.
I wonder if he had a Speedo on, man. Imagine. Bronzer, Speedo, those goggles.
Oh yeah, he comes back and he's got the full on the
square goggle.
They're just like the tan line that it looks like he just got spray tan and forgot to, and it had those little fucking small goggles on, and it just gives you that sharp line.
Yeah. And he's wearing flippers now all the time.
And let's cut the shit here. Like, you come out of a decompression chamber after 2 days and dumping in a bedpan, and you got a sharp line bronzer tan on. I don't know if you're getting much action, man. I think those girls are going to be like, that's a hard pass for me.
But you know what, though?
Maybe he got a lot. Maybe they were like, damn, this guy was brave.
No, but there's some people out there that are some hard bottom feeders. You know what I mean? and while everyone's saying, move, bish, get out the way, there was one just in the back lurking. She's like, this fucking bronze beauty over here is exactly what the doctor ordered.
Yeah. Maybe it works in his favor. Maybe they'll have to do a follow-up, because she was probably like, let me take care of you.
Yeah. I want to decompress with you next time.
Yeah. Let me quarantine with that bronze body that you got going on there.
Let's go deeper together. You know what I mean? I want to go scuba with you.
Yeah.
I'll be your scuba commander.
Because does nitrogen fuck you up?
Well, obviously it fucks your nitrogen.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say, though, right? Like, wouldn't that be almost desirable? Like, you'd be
you want it. That's why everyone swims up so quick, is because you want to get that fucked.
They're like, by the way, you have to swim out 1.5 meters per second or feet per second, or else you're gonna get lifted on nitrogen. You see people just doing Michael Phelps shit to get to the top so they can get fucked up.
Yeah, or forget the flippers. They those underwater propelled little jetpacks.
Yeah.
Like this. I had a tough day.
Anybody want to go scubaing? Anybody want to go nitrogening?
Yeah, scuba nitroing.
Yeah, because they're
nitro diving.
Yeah, you go down there and they're like, you don't really have much gear on. You're like, this is all I need, man. Because isn't that like what fucking whippets are and shit?
I think so. I think people get addicted to whippets. Maybe that's all it was. Homie was 17 years old, got a taste of a whippet, hooked on whippets now, and said, you know what? I need to decompress.
Maybe scuba diving is a gateway drug, man. All these people getting up, being like, damn, that shit was sick as fuck. Like, I'm lifted, right? And then they go and try and do all these other extreme activities, thinking I'm going to get a rush here. I'm going to go fucking be an alpinist. I'm going to go climb Everest.
Yeah.
Which would be sick as fuck, by the way.
Fuck. Everest?
Yeah, that's on my bucket list for sure. I looked into it.
I'll for sure die. I'll be one of those sad stories. Listen, he went for it, didn't make it. But that's another thing, Everest. You got to go to base camp. After base camp, you got camp 2, camp 3. Can't go too fast. You have to get, I think it's a nitro thing. So even at Everest. So this guy is fucking getting lifted scuba diving. Now he's got Everest on the bucket list, and it's the same deal. It's a bunch. Adrenaline junkies are actually just a bunch of fucking nitro boosting junkies.
They're just a bunch of junkies. Everybody's just a junkie in some way, shape, or form. So some people like food, some people like alcohol, and some people like adrenaline. And then either way, they're just like, I'm getting fucked up whether you like it or not. That's probably why all those trips are so fucking expensive, right?
Yeah.
Because like to do I looked into the Everest thing, and I was doing all this reading on it.
How much?
If you want to do the whole trip, and because apparently what happens is like you can't I saw this interview with this like Sherpa.
Yeah.
And he was basically like, I forget what there are. They're like, like a half a dozen of these Sherpas or whatever. And they're all basically like, no one can do this without us. Like basically everybody would die, right? But anyways, you want the full Monty, the platinum package where you get the Sherpa. I mean, you can't really do it elsewhere, but the flight and the base camp and the blah, blah, blah. You're looking at about 75 large.
Jesus Christ.
But I mean, to say that you got to Everest, man, boy, that's something real. But maybe these Sherpas are just fucking nitro pushers. Like they're like.
Maybe the whole time, right? This is, you need a boost?
Yeah,
you want to go a little bit higher?
Yeah. What if you did drugs or, I mean, I guess even if you fucking drank a beer at the top of Everest, you'd probably just your blood would be so thin, I guess you just fall over, right?
Yep. It'd be a huge rot, man. And actually, speaking of rotted, I want to congratulate Paul. And Paul, if you're listening, and I have a feeling that you are listening, congratulations, because you rotted. Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the episode. That was episode 9. Thank you so much for all of your support. Again, if you want to hop on You Rotted, just send us an email to fiercekingz@gmail.com. Definitely follow us on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. We always got that meme game on lock. And that's basically it. Stu, before signing out, is there anything that you would like to tell the people?
You are now not listening to the Fierce Kingz